So today we welcome Quinn Conyers to the Convert with Confidence Summit, and I'm so excited here because we get to talk about how to create more engagement with our audience and how to really, bring that energy when it comes to being in front of our audience. So Quinn's superpower is her E factor, which we're going to get to in just a moment, which includes a beautiful blend of energy, engagement, and excitement. She partners with meeting and event planners to transform their events into epic experiences as a compelling keynote speaker and energetic MC. She's over 17 years of virtual and in-person speaking, event hosting, and MC experience, and her signature mission is broadcasting the brilliance of women in business. So Quinn, I want to welcome you to the summit. And would you mind first telling us what motivates you to do the work that you do?
Well, I believe that our voice is our superpower in our business. And I believe that many women have been told to be seen, but not heard, or don't speak unless spoken to. So we really haven't been confident or courageous enough to communicate. And I just believe that if I can amplify my voice, I can publicly and secretly and privately give other women to use their voices as well, because we have something awesome and amazing to say. But because of life circumstances, work, how we grew up, a lot of women, especially women in business, are not always confident and comfortable to use their voice. So I believe it's part of my agenda. It's part of my, what I'm supposed to do on this earth to kind of activate the voices of others.
Yeah, it's like we almost go into I know my friend coined this phrase, a shame attack. Like we go into these shame attacks when let's say we put ourselves out there. Like there's often this fear. I'm sure you've worked with customers, Quinn, who maybe have a fear of putting themselves out there. And it's like we end up taking the foot off the gas if we don't get the response that we want, if we don't get the likes, we don't get the comments or people signing up for our master classes. So Quinn, what do you feel like gets in the way for these women business owners? Because I think all of us deep down want to be seen, want to be heard, but it's like we have our foot on the gas and our foot on the brake at the same time.
You said what prevents them from really speaking up?
Yeah, like what do you think, in your own words, what may be getting in the way for these women? I know you mentioned like our upbringing, and I think a lot of this audience struggles with guilt or shame around being heard, right?
Well, I think a lot of times our voices have been celebrated, right? Like, I think it goes back to we've struggled with being the only. Maybe you're the only woman when you were working, you were the only woman of color or the only person, right? So I think a lot of times we don't choose to be quiet. We don't choose to be muted or muzzled. I think it is a result of our life circumstances, or maybe we did speak up or speak out and then we were met with backlash and we're like, we're never going to do that again. So we don't even recognize or realize that was a traumatic experience. So there are so many reasons why, and just to be honest, we've been told to be humble. You know what I mean? Don't boast, don't toot your own horn. So then when you step into the realm of entrepreneurship, or you step into the realm of advocating for yourself, it's really difficult because, you were told that wasn't a good trait to have. And then all of a sudden somebody switches their mind and says, yes, you should speak up. It's a hard transition for people. So it's not like somebody went around and said, hey, you be quiet. I think that society, I think social media, I think our upbringing, I think corporate America, all of that has a role to play on how we use, and leverage our voice and how we communicate, period. So I don't think it's a one time, this is why we do it. I think it's a culmination of our life experiences.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I love how you brought that up. Like, I know I was taught to be nice. And I'm sure some of this audience could say, be the good girl, be very nice. And this niceness would come off in my material. It's just like being very like overly polite, overly giving. And then we wonder why we're not getting the traction or the response that we want. And often this language is very passive versus being very direct. Right?
Yes, yes. Passive language. I mean, especially as women, you know what I mean? That has definitely been taught and encouraged. Whereas, a man could use the same language, but he seemed to be assertive. So, I mean, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down when it comes to language and words and choices. And, you might have been told to be nice. Somebody else might have been told to be helpful. Somebody else might have been told to, be giving, right? Like we all have those stories on what we were told to be. And then you get older and you grow up and you realize, I actually don't want to be nice at all. Right. Or being nice hasn't served me well. Right. It seems like all the mean people at work are getting promoted. What's going on here? And it's not that they were being mean. It's just because they advocated for what they wanted. And we
Mhm.
were so grateful for the opportunity and less assertive for the opportunity.
I
And
love
that's what's happening.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this audience struggles with assertiveness, especially because now we're talking sales conversations, being the theme of the summit. You know, how is there like one shift we can make, or like, let's say we're paralyzed when we think about being assertive. I think that there's a lot of negative energy around assertiveness, and people view it as like being pushy or something. Like what is maybe like a healthy view of assertiveness that we actually should be taking in our businesses and on sales calls so that we can create the impact that we want?
I just like to use different words. I mean, I believe that words are so powerful, and I'm a huge advocate of luxury language and not discount dialect. And, I can break down what that means. But I think that when you want to take control of a sales conversation and you want to be more assertive, it really does come down to what are the words that you're using. People don't like the word sales. So if sales creeps you out, if sales makes you feel uncomfortable, if you think about, oh, I got to sell somebody, I immediately think of the cheesy car salesman with the slick back hair and a Taco Bell meat hair on his chest, and that like weirds you out, then let's talk about how we can call this something else, right? Can we have a conversion conversation? I'm not going to sell you, but if you like what I have to offer, I want to invite you to work with me even further. My services don't cost. There's an investment to work with me. So I think that my job and how I work with my clients to have those sales conversations that work to use words that feel more comfortable, right? If this makes sense and you see some synergy in my services, I would like to invite you to become a client. I would like to offer you, instead of sell you an opportunity, offer you the opportunity to become a client in my coaching program, right? So I think for me, I think what has been very beneficial is I use language that makes me feel good when I'm making an offer to someone, but I also know it's very inviting to the other receiver because they're so used to getting sold, but not really being used to made an offer towards them, right? Because if it's not a good fit, then it's not a good fit. But if you feel like I can assist you and I can serve you beyond our call today, let's talk about how you and I working together would fit and what that investment would be. So it's the language shift that people need to kind of adopt. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Why is this important? I think a lot of us don't have awareness around just the power of language. And, having a background as a hypnotist, I understand the power of language on the nervous system. But can we go into talking a little bit about like, why is language super important other than just getting the right copy? I think often we're just focused on, let me get the perfect copy. Let me create the perfect button. Let me do the perfect talk, and maybe we end up even like memorizing this talk just to get out of it. But why is this like, why is it important for us to feel good about the language, about the words, and what's important about the feeling the words gives you versus like, let me get somebody's script, right?
Well, I mean, I think the whole notion of sticks and stones may break my bones, but names or words would never hurt me is a lie. And I think that we felt that way for so long. So words do have power. That's the reason why if we were in third grade and a student or a teacher said something that we didn't like, we're now 75 or 45 years old and we hold on to it. So I think that acknowledgement of the power of words is the first thing. And I'm just super aware. Like I'm just super aware of who I am, what I stand for, what I believe. I know a lot of people are not like that, but I've been very blessed to understand who I am and how to take up space on this earth. And that's why part of my, job is to make sure that other women can see themselves that way as well. But I think just studying the craft, understanding like there's so many other elements that happen, but communication is such a foundational part of how we live our lives. So to ignore that in the business world, to ignore that in our career, we're doing ourselves a disservice, whereas communication has been the foundation of everything. I remember, I have two kids, right? I don't know if you're a mom. Are you a mom?
I am not. I'm a cat mom.
Oh, well, okay. Well, listen, you're still a mom, right? We fur babies, animals count, right? But when you think about language and communication, I do think that we don't put as much emphasis on it in our businesses and our careers as the world does. Like I remember, again, I have a 4 and a 6-year-old, and I remember literally carrying these 2 kids for 9 months in my stomach, and we get so excited about their first words, right? Oh my gosh, they said mama. If they say dada, we're upset. Like I carried you for 9 months and you're really going to tell me the first word you're going to say is dada, right? But that's our first expression celebration of language and words. And then I remember taking my kids to their very first doctor's appointment, and she asked me, does he know 6 words? She didn't ask me, can he run? Can he jump? Can he eat? It was like she was judging and evaluating his developmental milestones based on his ability to communicate and use speech and words, right? And then if you take that even further, if someone's either arrested, whether it's on TV or if it's real, they read you your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can be held against you. So again, language, communication shows up. And then if you get married, right? In all 50 states, I checked, you cannot give a thumbs up. You can't give a nod up or a nod down. If you want to be legally married, you have to say I do or I will to make your union official. So when you think about language, it's been a part of our lives, in so many different ways. But I think that we don't give it as much priority when it comes to our businesses and becomes our career. Even if you want to get a new job, you got to interview for it. So speech, communication has been around every day, all day, and twice on Sunday. But for whatever reason, we don't give it its rightful place in our businesses and our careers. And that's where I want to shift it and make it more of a priority, the way it is in everybody else's, lives. Like I remember growing up and my mom, like, you better not talk back. Okay, let me be quiet. Right. Like, so speech and language has always been a part of what we do, but it's been forgotten when it comes to business and entrepreneurship for whatever reason.
Yeah. And this is probably where it's really important, right? Especially if this is your this is your means to not just pay your bills, but to create fulfillment in your life.
Correct.
And then oftentimes, and I've been guilty of this, and I see this in clients as well. And this can happen in any relationship. We end up beating ourselves up or internalizing our lack of results when it's really just because of our own communication, rather than taking responsibility, right, of how we might be coming off. We go in and say, oh, I'm not good enough, or nobody cares about what I'm saying. And then we don't really, and I think it's just like what you said, we're not paying attention to this huge important piece, which is the whole reason people connect with you are not, right, is in what we're saying, what we're putting in an email blast, right?
Yeah. And you get it, right? And you said something that was so interesting as well. It's not just about, what goes on in an email blast. It used to be word of mouth was king and queen, right? What, other people said about you, especially before social media came into play. But now it's important to say what you say about you. And I think a lot of times we begin to diminish our light, or we play it safe, and we don't want to seem like we're bragging or we're boasting. So we're actually downplaying our greatness when we really should be elevating it. So, it's not just the words that go on your copy. It's not just the words that go in your email. It's not just the words that go on your social media. It is the words that come out of your mouth as the spokesperson for your business, your book, or your brand. And once we begin to shift and be more intentional about that, we will see different doors open for our businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want to talk about more about like what energy has to do with creating sales. This summit being about like that conversion process, which may look like an email blast, which may look like doing a Facebook Live, or, just reaching out via phone. Like, what does energy have to do with creating more excitement and more engagement? I know that is your E factor. So would you mind quickly running us through the different parts of your E factor? And then what does energy have to do with creating more excitement and more engagement?
Yeah. So my E factor is how I show up. It is a blend of my energy, my excitement, and my engagement. So when I'm speaking, when I'm serving, either as an MC or if I'm being interviewed, I always try to bring my E factor, because it's a part of what makes me different. And energy is just another rendition of passion, right? Anytime, I don't care if you're talking about doorknobs, right? You better be excited about those doorknobs, right? Because it's contagious, right? So whatever turns you on, whatever lights your fire, whatever gives get you excited about, like, if you don't have energy behind that, why is somebody going to want to invest in that? So your energy is really about the passion, about the products, the services that you offer, because it really is contagious. If I'm fired up about it, if I'm excited about it, guess what? Then somebody else who's listening to you is going to want to know more. So it's just that I just realized that so many people are so mundane. They're so like mediocre when they can be magnificent. And all it is turning up your energy, turning up your passion. Like whatever you're talking about, whatever you're explaining to someone, especially if this is your baby, something that you created, it's a business, it's a book, it's a coaching program, it's an online course, whatever that looks like. If you don't have no energy, no passion, no umph behind it, how is somebody else going to be excited to work with you? And I think that it's one of those things that you can't buy. You can't rent that. You have to come with energy. You have to come with passion. And I believe that when you have those things, people are buying your services, but they're also buying a piece of you, a piece of your personality. So literally what can differentiate you from somebody else is the passion and the energy, you know, and the excitement that you have for what you offer, because there's so many people literally with awesome, amazing businesses, but when they explain it, you're not excited. So I'm not going to be excited. So I'm going to go to the next person. Right. So I think that it's one of those foundational soft skills that people don't realize have so much impact on your business. So energy and passion, in my opinion, as a woman who's doing business in 2022 and beyond, is not a nice to have. It's a necessity. And that's what separates me from everybody else. I always get this compliment. I love your energy. I love your energy, you know, and I didn't know it was a thing until I got the compliment over and over again. I'm like, man, you're right. The last 5 people I talked to, their energy was like down here. And, you know, when I get, I'm like, hey, it's nice to see you. Glad to be here. Like, nobody's paying me to do that, but it is a great day. I am happy to be here. I'm living, I'm breathing. Like, let's celebrate that. So it's a part of my DNA, but I really do encourage other people to tap into their energy and passion as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think a lot of people can resonate with what you said. A lot of coaches here can resonate with what you said earlier about like not feeling good enough to take up space, not feeling like they're allowed to speak their mind. So maybe you go out and you just copy paste, you know, copy from someone else that's safe. So you don't want to like, what's the phrase? You don't want to, rock the boat. You don't, it's like, you're almost coming
I'm a boat flipper over.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Cause you know, let's talk about the importance of this, because I think as we're all scaling here, or maybe you're an aspiring coach or consultant. And at some point, you know, if you're kind of drawing in the same clients, maybe you're comfortable with your clients, the next step is going to be to create that polarization. And I remember when I first heard this polarization, I was like, what? It's like, I have to really start to magnetize who I want and really kind of let those go who we just don't resonate with. So let's talk about the importance of this polarization. How can we start to become like, why do we need to flip boats over here rather than be safe?
Well, I mean, I've never been a person to be inside of a boat, right? But then once I tried to be in a boat, it just didn't work for me. But I think it's about not chasing who you want, but attracting who you want. So when you show up as your authentic self and you say certain words that resonate with you, then people are going to be a magnet to you, because you're singing their song, you're doing their dance. And I think that we don't put a premium on that, right? So if you are okay with me having purple lipstick and a purple lock, like, let's do business. But if you want someone who always wears a brown, a gray, or, you know, a brown suit, that's not me. I'm going to show up colorful. And I think that the more you show up as you're going to attract that right audience, because then you're going to be working with people that you don't want to work with, right? Like if you are more whimsical and free and expressive, and you keep getting clients who are by the book, by the script, and kind of like, you know, mundane, then that's not going to work. So I don't believe in chasing clients. I believe in attracting clients. So my language, my copy, my emails, how I show up just says, I am for the woman. I am for the person who is okay with being a boat flipper over. Right? Like if you want to stay in the boat, if you need to have your seatbelt securely fastened, I am probably not for you, because I am going to probably push you to use your voice to the greatest capacity. I'm going to be the one to tell you to turn on your camera. You know, I'm going to be so that's just me. So you get that from my energy. Like, she's not going to let me go under this boat. Matter of fact, we're getting rid of boats. We're jumping into the water, no lifeguard, no flippers. Whereas somebody else would be like, okay, Quinn, before I do this, I need my goggles, I need my flippers, I need my fins. Like, no, no. We're going to learn to swim by jumping in the deep end. And if that's not your style, that's okay. But that goes with using your voice. That goes with using certain words, to attract that. So I'm a huge component of really attracting and not chasing clients, because when you attract, then there is a magnet that you just talked about that your ideal client will want to work with you, and you don't have to like force your services on them. And you do that through how you're marketing and promoting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Super powerful. Like,
Mhm.
go back and re-listen to that. Are you feeling her energy through the camera? Because I am, and especially we're all in this digital world now. I think we kind of discount a lot of things just because we're virtual, but
Mhm.
feel the energy through it's just as powerful in person as it is on the camera and through Zoom as well. If not, it's almost like more important through Zoom, right? Because we don't have distractions. It's like we've got this little box, and we're even more focused now because we're just looking into this one little camera here. So it's almost like it matters even more because we're in this smaller space. And I know Quinn, I know we're talking about language here, and you talk about this, what is it, discount
Dialect.
dialect. Can you give us like maybe like one or two examples of discount dialect and how it may be getting in the way of us, like maybe putting out a strong call to action, let's say?
Yeah, so discount dialect is words, language, and phrases that you're using to disrespect or downgrade your greatness. And a lot of us are using discount dialect and we're totally unaware, right? And we're getting frustrated because it's like we're not attracting the clients or the customers that we want, or we feel like people are overlooking us, or paying our competitors, or feeling like our prices are too expensive, whatever that looks like. So it's just being conscious of the words that we're using. And there's many discount dialect words that we are using that is really hurting our business. So one of the words, that I am definitely think it should be removed from the business dictionary is the word help. I just hate it. We overuse it. And to be honest with you, some of us have 10, 20, 30 years experience. We're not helping anyone. We're really assisting. We're coaching. We are edifying. We're strengthening. So if we begin to use stronger words, which I call those words are luxury language, it puts off a different kind of persona in the atmosphere. So again, not using word like I can help or I can assist. I can help or I can coach. I can help or I can strengthen. I can help or I can empower, right? So those are just some words that I would suggest that if you're a woman coach, speaker, entrepreneur, business owner, that you begin to use, because help is discount dialect. Another word that I see a lot of women using is the word sorry. I'm sorry. Like it's just almost like you're apologizing. What are you apologizing for? For what? You turned on the camera, did nothing happen. But when you begin to say words like I'm sorry and you're not, what are you apologizing for? It already shows the other person that you're not as confident in yourself. You're probably trying to figure it out. So it's like, I'm sorry, I can't turn on my camera right now. Versus give me 1 second, have a little bit of technical difficulties. As soon as I'm ready, I'll turn my camera on. Like we don't have to apologize because we're having difficulty finding the camera, right? So I thought it was just people who do that, but I've seen people do it on sales calls, right? Like, I'm sorry, can I share this with you for a second? I'm like, why are you apologizing for sharing with me the offer that I just told you that I was interested in?
Yeah.
So if you start saying I'm sorry a lot, or I can help you a lot, it's like a red flag that you might not be as comfortable or confident. So I don't dismiss you. I sometimes use it as a teachable moment, depending on where I am. Like, hey, can you stop saying you're sorry? Because you didn't do anything wrong to me. I'm completely fine. You didn't disrespect me. You didn't downgrade me. And I don't want you to downgrade yourself and put yourself in an inferior position. And you don't have to be. And a lot of times women, we take on that inferior position in business, in our career, because of the words and the language that we choose. But our credentials, our experience, and our expertise shows the exact opposite. So I am a huge lover of words. I want to leave a legacy with my language. And part of me doing that is showing other women how their language can affect all aspects of their business and their career.
Yeah, it's really everything. I see it in emails too. Like, I'm sorry to bother you. And it's like, I don't feel compelled. Like, think about it. For those of you watching, do you feel compelled to open an email that says, I'm sorry, or I'm sorry? And it's interestingly enough, my outlook just decides this is junk. I don't know how, I don't know what the algorithm is, but when I
It's
check
the
my
energy that you're putting out there, Lydia. It's the energy. You're like, I don't like that.
I guess so. It must Outlook has gotten really smart. And it's like I've gone through my junk and I see things like, hey, I hope you're doing well. It's like we try to fill the space with everything but our offer. Everything but just making the offer or just getting really direct. And really this just comes down to our own leadership in our business. And what's the and I've said this before in the summit, it's like what's the point of having the perfect sales process, the perfect sales script, or the perfect funnel when our energy is just like we're pumping money into ads and we're getting back, I love the word, use the word like mediocre. We're just getting back mediocre results. Maybe we are working with clients, but they're not our dream clients. So here is what needs to shift. And I know, Quinn, you have a free gift for this audience, which I'm going to go grab as well, because obviously, feeling Quinn's energy through the camera here. Quinn, would you tell this audience what you have for them?
Yeah, so I have a luxury language list, and thank you for allowing me to share it. So if you're like, oh my gosh, Quinn stepped on all of my toes, I'm the one who says help. I'm the one who says I'm sorry. That is me raising my hand, shamelessly putting my head down. No worries, I got you. So if you want access to my luxury language list, I know that Lydia is going to have, that link, and you can click it. And what you're going to find is you're going to be able to download this list. It's going to have all the discount dialect words that you should not be using, as well as a host of luxury language words that you can use to begin to speak or incorporate into your elevator pitch when you're communicating either on video or copy, so you can have a stronger and more powerful presence as a communicator. So again, if you are mindful or want to be more intentional and deliberate about the words you shouldn't use, that is listed for you. But I also give you a lot of luxury language words that you can begin to use immediately to give your business, your book, your brand a instant facelift of credibility. So download that list. I promise you it will serve you very well.
Yeah, go get it. So scroll to the bottom of this page, click the link to go download this now. This link is only going to be available from 48 hours from the time this interview was sent out. So go click the link, go get this free gift. This is good. Like she said, it's going to give you that instant boost to start to polarize, to start to magnetize your dream client. Well, let's face it, we're not going to magnetize our dream clients being quiet. It's just not going to happen.
Not happening. No.
So it's time to put yourself out there. It's time to become the authority in your niche, whatever, however you want to say it. And Quinn, thank you so much for joining us for such a powerful and energetic conversation here on the summit today.
Well, I'm so excited that you invited me, and thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Let's do it. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Click the link below. Go check out all of her social media as well. And I will see you guys on the next interview. Thanks for joining us.